The video game industry is full of games that never made it to launch. Some of those games were highly anticipated. For example, games like Star Wars 1313 or Starcraft Go or Star Fox 2 way back in the day. If you've been able to chat with a game developer about the process of game development and how chaotic it can be, you would start to have an idea about why so many games don't ship. Game development is a combination of art, creativity, and science, and it's usually built collaboratively with one or several people's vision for an ideal outcome at its core, which is like a recipe for disaster. You can have a budget, you can have a great and talented team, you could have an interesting idea, and still the game might not end up being a good enough product to make. Maybe it's super polished, but it's just not fun. Point is that there can be so many things that can go wrong when it comes to game development. One highly anticipated game in the blockchain space was Deadrop, first-person extraction shooter made by Midnight Society, a game development company that was created in part by Dr. Disrespect, with the sole purpose of creating a shooter with high risk and high reward. Welcome back to another episode of What's New Weekly, your weekly dive into blockchain gaming and crypto. I'm your host, Jay Cluster. Today, we're going to be looking into and saying goodbye to a game that just didn't quite make it. If you're enjoying these episodes, hit those like, comment, share buttons, and let's jump in. Last week, Midnight Society announced that they were closing their doors and that their game Deadrop would no longer be in development. Here's their post about it. They said, "Today we are announcing Midnight Society will be closing its doors after 3 incredible years with an amazing team of over 55 developers contributing to our new IP Deadrop. We are actively seeking other game studios that would be interested in offering employment opportunities to our talented team members. If you know anyone who's hiring, please forward this message to them or DM us with direct intros. We express our sincere gratitude to each and every one of our community members and deeply sorry we were unable to reach our ultimate goal." So, you got a lot of comments here. Stash giving them the salute. Yellow Panther, GG's. Some initial reactions there. But why and how did this happen? I mean, I myself was fairly bullish on the idea behind the game when it was first announced. The Web3 community had high hopes that this popular content creator, Dr. Disrespect, would bring blockchain gaming into a better light. And in some ways, it did help. So what happened? It all started to fall apart when Dr. Disrespect was accused of soliciting a minor via Twitch DMs, which is a whole issue in and of itself. We don't need to talk about that. But let's watch this video that Gaspod made.
Good morning, gamers. We've just seen that Midnight Society has removed Dr. Disrespect from the studio. I'm keen to see how this will affect the game Deadrop, as I see him being one of their unique selling points who got a lot of eyes onto the project. They had some big tournaments at the end of last year, filling out a whole stadium, but most of those came because of Dr. Disrespect himself rather than the game. He did bring a lot of people into the space because they minted their NFT just because of him. It's interesting to see how many of those have then gone out into the wider ecosystem, but I think for this game itself, they're going to be in for a rocky ride now that he has been removed. Now go out there.
So in a way, I guess you could say the writing was on the wall, right? You have creators like this saying like, well, the whole thing that made Deadrop special, mainly at least, was the fact that Dr. Disrespect was a part of the team and it was going to be his game and people wanted to play his game. And because of that, a lot of people who weren't into crypto bought NFTs just to be able to play the game with him and stuff like that. So the moment that Dr. Disrespect was kicked out of the company, Midnight Society, was probably the final nail in the coffin, so to speak. But after 3 years of development, the game is shutting down. You can also see this post by Dexerto. Midnight Society, the game studio Dr. Disrespect co-founded, has shut down. Their game Deadrop was in development for 3 years and was never released. Midnight Society cut ties with Dr. Disrespect. You can see this article here. His game studio has closed its doors back in 2024. Society cut ties with Dr. Disrespect after YouTube streamer admitted inappropriately messaging a minor on Twitch. Just a few months later, the studio cut cut down its size with its dev team while leaving many of its fans and active players wondering about the future of its game. On Thursday, January 30th, fans got their long-awaited answer about the future of Deadrop, revealed that it's closing entirely. So yeah, it sucks. Former Midnight Society level designer Brad Boyce took to LinkedIn to share the news as well, revealing the studio is out of funding and everybody needs to pack up and go home. The team of Midnight Society got our 2-day notice yesterday that the studio is out of funding and everybody needs to pack up and go home. Everyone I worked with at Midnight Society is absolutely amazing at what they do and is now jobless. I thought we had much more runway with funding. That's unfortunate. So they weren't being honest about how much funding they had either. You know, you have people who bought the Founders Pass wondering, what does that mean about us who spent thousands, hundreds of dollars on these NFTs? Dr. Disrespect reacted to the news on stream as well, confirming the studio's closure after revealing YouTube had decided to remonetize it. So I guess this kind of happened live for him, experienced the fact that Midnight Society is closing its doors and the fact that he's being remonetized the same day. Kind of confusing, but interesting nonetheless. In this Dexerto post, you can see some pretty ruthless comments, but you know, sometimes the truth stings. The game still has gray box maps after 3 years, says Inhuman. Gotta agree with that. Like, it wasn't really progressing very quickly, that's for sure. Absolutely tragic. You have people that say, what an L, it's obvious now that he was bankrolling the whole thing. Cutting him was essentially cutting their own throats. A lot of people seem disappointed. A lot of people are not surprised. 3 years is barely enough time to lay the groundwork, much less being a AAA blockbuster. Wake up. The doc was the game, and when his name was wrongfully dragged through the mud, the game was done there. So, okay, that's it. Overall, I think that the damage done to the blockchain space because of this whole fiasco was actually really done back in June when Dr. Disrespect was removed from Midnight Society for those solicitation allegations, but it's still always unfortunate to see another game that's not gonna make it. It's tough, especially in the blockchain space. But it's important to remember that games are hard to make and they fail more often than they succeed. So it shouldn't come as too big of a surprise, and there's no real point in blaming any one person regarding its downfall or the fact that, like, say there's a content creator who supported the game and now the game's dead. It's not like that content creator is a bad person. They just were excited about the game, and games fail all the time. So it is what it is. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments about Midnight Society closing down. Did you play Deadrop? Was it all right for you? It was a bit janky, but it was all right. There was fun times in Deadrop, like playing those lobbies and everyone started to like communicate with each other, and it was just like a fun time to meet people and things like that. It's all gone now. Oh well, moving on. The general gist, from what I can tell, is that the people who were underage and were basically trying to get him to hit on them were actually not underage, and they were ex-Twitch employees who didn't like Dr. Disrespect and tried to entrap him. But I don't know what's going on with that. Moving on. Openloot. First off, it looks like we have a little bit more clarity on Shatterpoint. No, it has not launched yet. I kind of mentioned a week or two ago that, like, I didn't know if it had launched. No, it's not launched yet, but it seems like it'll be launching soon. Openloot made this post today that has a Medium article explaining how PvP will work in Shatterpoint. I'll summarize it for you. It seems like from this article that their PvP will be similar to a MOBA. However, the goal of each match will be to end with the most amount of shards collected as possible. You get shards from killing NPCs and from other players. The more shards you have, the higher you will be on the leaderboard and the better rewards you will get. The rest of this article is pretty much just about gameplay and gameplay mechanics, how you can kind of win. One important thing to note though is that that you will be able to customize these things called ruins in order to get an edge in these PvP matches. And I'm pretty sure ruins are like NFTs or something like that. So my one concern is that this might invite a scenario that is a bit pay to win, but we will have to see once the game goes live exactly how that's going to work. Other news, we got Desolation re-enabled mythic rewards back into the game. I don't really play this game, so I'm not sure what this really means, but if you do play this game, I'm happy for you. We got boss fighters, which has started a new leaderboard just yesterday, and the rewards for this one are showrunner contracts. So if you want to try and win yourself a showrunner, which is like the equivalent of a time warden for boss fighters, jump in and get playing. I think the main thing is you have to fuse stuff, build stuff, but you can check out the Medium article here if you're interested. And also there was this post by Ryan Openloot. He works for both Big Time and Openloot. I've worked with him before. He's a nice guy, super smart, super on point, on the ball, does a lot of shit. He's gone through and broken down some statistics for the Openloot platform, and they're pretty impressive. So 22.29 million revenue from trading fees in the past 365 days, and also a total of $31.9 million in trading volume, marketplace volume in the past 30 days, which is crazy. And these metrics are for the Openloot marketplace before even these 4 games have even fully launched yet, right? It goes through, explains, you know, we've got 4 games that are coming shortly. None of these really have their economies fully launched yet. So what will that mean for the Openloot marketplace? Is it going to boom even more? Good question. We have some comments on this post I think are kind of relevant. This is something that's pretty typical for crypto native people. It's not a self-custodial platform. Every penny you hold in there has a risk of being confiscated or lost, although, you know, that would be hard to do except for if you were cheating or exploiting the platform. It's not an open marketplace either. If all of these NFTs could just be traded on any open marketplace like IMX or OpenSea, these games might actually have some chance. So, you know, there's some criticism around that. Is this whole walled garden approach what is necessary to find success in blockchain, right? So you have to think about the Openloot platform as essentially like its own private L2 that's excluded from the outside. If you want to withdraw your NFTs, you can, but it's not very easy. It's not as easy as just having your NFTs in your MetaMask and connecting your MetaMask to OpenSea, right? So which one's better? In some ways, I agree with both. What do you guys think? Do you think that the whole custodial way to do it or non-custodial way is the way to do it? Let me know in the comments below. Moving on, Big Time. Big Time is in its second week of the second of a 2-month-long Lunar New Year crafting leaderboard. Let's quickly run through what the weekly challenges have been this week. All right, so the first week they did this thing, loot 1,000 envelopes, and they also said buy 1,000 envelopes. But the funny thing is that the first week the price of the envelopes was so high, it was like $20 for a stack of 1,000. Now is down, you know, to $9, but even still, that's pretty pricey. And the reason why that is because it's actually really been quite difficult to loot a decent amount of envelopes in game. The drop rates have been pretty low. They've been slowly sort of increasing them, it seems like, but yeah, especially the first few days, it was really tough to loot envelopes. So I'm not even sure how many people looted 1,000 envelopes, let alone bought 1,000 envelopes. That was the first week. Now we're on the second week. This week we've had to open 3 epoch chests to get 1,500 leaderboard points, complete crafting of 3 moonlit serpent blades. I believe these are the rare sword, maybe they're the rare daggers, I forget. And then we've got the midweek madness, which was when you craft Lunar New Year daggers, they cost 0 big time but 10 times the amount of envelopes. But this sort of goes back to the first point, which is that envelopes have been really hard to get this past week and a half or two. So making the envelopes or the crafting cost 10 times the amount of envelopes is actually quite difficult and pricey, especially if you're trying to buy envelopes from the marketplace in order to, you know, max out the amount of daggers you could craft. So that happened. And then now today they've posted the weekend event. You get 40% cheaper bonus rolls for crafting lunar cosmetic, double the odds of golden bonus rolls for lunar portals, and also double workshop XP when crafting lunar cosmetics. So that's the weekend event, and that's pretty much it for big time. The thing I want to know is, are you guys crafting on this leaderboard? Are you participating? I have a feeling that some people are already burnt out from participating in the Christmas leaderboard. I know I sure am personally. So far, I've only crafted a common dagger. Been like, I needed to take a break because I was pushing really hard for the Christmas leaderboard. But that's it for big time. Moving on to crypto. Oh, crypto. Crypto's been kind of going crazy this past week. So I always say that, you know, like I've basically been saying that for the past 3 weeks now. Crypto's going crazy. Crypto's going crazy. So hard to keep up with, but we're here. Crypto and stocks reacted to a tariff war that was started by the United States on February 1st. And you can see we had a huge decline in price here from 105, 106K all the way down to 92K, 91.85K. And which this whole tariff war caused about $2 billion in crypto liquidation and saw Bitcoin dropping, like I said, all the way down to 92K. Before it sort of settled at 96K, it's important to note that this tariff war that was started caused more money to evaporate from people in the crypto community's hands than either FTX or the Luna crash in the last bear market, bull market. So thank you, the United States, for starting a needless trade war. And anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. So what happened? February 1st, Trump announced that the US would be putting blanket tariffs on goods from Canada, Mexico, and China, and also hinted that it would also be tariffing the EU among a bunch of other places like Colombia and so on. He's been talking about doing this for several months now, and this is one of the campaign promises that I think a lot of people thought he wouldn't follow through on. And, you know, buy the rumor, sell the news. This would be a good example of that happening for sure. That announcement tanked both the crypto and the stock markets. But then a day later, all the countries who Trump tariffed responded with counter tariffs that caused Trump to put a pause to his aggressive tactics and start negotiating. It's confusing to me. It's like almost like he expected all of these other countries to just sit back and take it without any response or something. I don't know. I'm not the president of the United States. I don't know what's going through his head. But anyways, that pause also put a pause to downward motion in the markets. We saw a rebound off of 92, go up to 102K, and then it settled back down around 96K as of the time of this video. But the pause is only for a month. And he's still threatening to continue this trade war and to counter tariff the counter tariffs and put tariffs on even more nations. So there's quite a bit of uncertainty in the market because of this. So let's read through a couple articles here. This article by The Defiant says cryptocurrency market recorded mild losses on Thursday. So this is an updated article, sort of keeping people up to date. And they say that we've still got some mild losses on Thursday, remaining volatile following President Donald Trump's tariff announcement and subsequent pause. BTC dropped 1.3%, ETH recorded a 3% dip, XRP 6%, Solana 5%. So the overall crypto market capitalization declined by 2.6 in the past 24 hours, and this is an article that came out yesterday. So during this period, 16,000 more leveraged traders were liquidated for another $234 million. This is on top of the $2 billion in liquidations that came from February the 1st. So the recent downturn, analysts suggest, is part of broader market volatility driven by escalating trade tensions between the United States and other countries, including Mexico, China, and Canada. Investor uncertainty has been heightened by President Trump's announcement of the tariffs on both Mexico and Canada, followed by a sudden pause. pause. Antonio Giacomo, a senior market analyst at XS.com, explained that following Trump's agreement with Mexico president, the market outlook briefly improved. However, he noted that despite the short-lived price rebound, volatility remains high, as seen in current trend. Bitcoin continues to face challenges as the Federal Reserve, monetary policies, governing regulations, and the behavior of larger investors. Experts suggest that 100,000 level could become a strong resistance in the short term, making sustained growth too difficult without new catalysts. So US-China trade war. China's also slapped a bunch of retaliatory taxes and trade tariffs on the United States. And yeah, it's just kind of messed some things up. There's this other article here that says the bull run isn't dead and here's why. And so this is what a lot of people have been concerned about. Oh, well, this trade war could just full on kill the bull market and we'll be sort of stuck holding the bag thanks to all of it. But here's some facts. Market pullbacks align with past bull runs, signaling a potential rally. Bitcoin's MVRV score shows market stability. Economic indicators suggest ongoing growth despite fears. Historical patterns point to upcoming crypto price surges. So this article kind of talks about this stuff. Crypto news highlights how after a strong Q4 2024 with Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs, the market now appears to be stalling. However, the recent dip in cryptocurrency prices has many investors feeling uneasy. Regulatory concerns, tariffs fears, and pullbacks of 20 to 30% across major tokens have many wondering if the bull market is over. However, the data tells a different story, suggesting that the market is merely catching its breath before taking another leap forward. So pullbacks are common in crypto markets, especially after strong rallies. Bitcoin's MVRV score, metric that measures whether Bitcoin is undervalued or overvalued compared to its fair market value, is signaling that the market may be close to a bottom. A bottom, it says. So if we look at this chart here, we've got similar patterns: 2017 bull market, 2021 bull market, and now here we are in 2024. We can see that in February of that year, it tends to go pretty parabolic. So what's that mean for us? It's kind of hinting that we could see things go pretty crazy in the next month or so, 2 months. Maybe it's possible. I really hope it is, because I really hope we see a good alt cycle still. But they also say that the macroeconomic data supports this growth. They kind of have a few people that they quote here talking about America's GDP and all that kind of stuff. And they still are noting that crypto's following historical patterns pretty consistently. So if it continues to follow these patterns, then the beginning of 2025 will not be when we see the bull market end, apparently, as far as this article says. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the bull market's over? Are we gonna be heading down forever? But let me know in the comments below. And that is it for this episode of What's New Weekly, guys. Thank you for watching. If you guys are watching this in the future, be sure to throw down a like, a follow, subscribe, leave a comment, and don't forget to share this to somebody else you think might find it interesting. And I will see you guys later. Peace. I just want to take a quick segue and talk about our sponsor. It is me, because somebody has to. Along with all the other things that I do, I have resurrected my online store, blockchain.me. You can find all sorts of crypto-themed art and memes on high-quality items that are perfect for starting conversations at your day job, or maybe at that next event that you guys are going to be going to. Web3 apparel that starts conversations. Blockchain on Me is full of apparel designed to capture the current vibe of Web3. We have the cryptocurrencies collection. Here is the Bitcoin Nomad bag, super awesome. I have one of these. I use it every time I go traveling somewhere, bring it to all my events. Super awesome. I love all the cryptocurrency collection and how it turned out. Collaborated with an artist to make this all happen. Pepe collection. Everybody needs a little bit of a Pepe in their life. Got the Be Nice Man slogan there on some different types of shirts for men, women, and some bottles and cups. Got some stickers. We also have the GM Cult collection, just a few items right now. We might add some more back, but you know, you got GM Inception, GM inside of the GM. Everyone loves the GM coffee. If you're a daily Twitter poster like I am, part of the GM cult, then maybe you want to check this out. Of course, we have to have the HODL collection, nice and simple. So all these items have free shipping worldwide for purchase over $120. And if you guys are looking for a discount, I'll leave a 15% discount code in the comments down below.